This is the cloud filling stitch, and I've already started stitching it. We start with a grouping of straight stitches. They need to be long enough you're going to be able to get the needle under them later. I marked out a grid with about 1/4 inch squares because you really want to keep your straight stitches evenly spaced. I am alternating between rows, so I'm stitching 2 rows of the straight stitches at once. You don't have to. You could go all the way across. And these can be spaced closer together or farther apart. That's completely up to you. But one row we do every other, if you did a grid, every other spot. The next row we go to the alternating one that you did not hit in the previous row. So I'm just working these short straight stitches, and for me it's easier to do 2 rows at once. So I'm going a straight stitch on one row, then either bouncing up or down to the next spot where my grid crosses over on the next row. And I just do that until I have filled in the whole grid with these short straight stitches. And I am doing the stitches, they're vertical stitches. I suppose you could switch them to horizontal, but really it would be just rotating your work in that case. So I'm going to go ahead and finish filling in this grid off camera. I have all my little short straight stitches in, and I have switched thread colors, and I have switched to a tapestry needle. I'm going to bring my needle up under my very first stitch on the upper left hand corner. And I'm using the tapestry needle like I said. I'm going to slide my needle under that first stitch, left to right. Then I go down to the stitch that's diagonally down from that. Again, I'm going to slide under, left to right, and I don't want to catch my working thread. Then I go back up diagonally to the next thread on the top line, left to right, down. So all I'm doing is threading this next one through here, which means you could use a more delicate thread if you wanted to, because we're not going through the fabric except for on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to work all the way across here. And oops. I'm going to work across, and then I'll show you when I'm ending off this row. All right, when I come to my last stitch, I'm still going under it, left to right. I'm going to then take my needle to the back of the fabric, and I could just move down to my next row, but I'm going to play around with this and change colors. You could start back over on the left, but I'm going to work from the right to left this time. I've switched to a different color of yellow just because I want to play with, see how it works with shading, so I'm gradually changing colors. So this time I'm going under my straight stitches from right to left. I'm going to go back up to the bottom row of the one I did on top, go under that, and then down to the row below. And I'm not trying to pull them up super tight. That's up to you on how tight or loose you want them. Up to the row I've been through before, right to left, down to the row below it, right to left, and just work my way back across in this sort of zigzag pattern. And then I'll go under that last one and take my thread to the back of the fabric and either knot off or start my next row. Okay, for my next row, since I've changed colors, I'm going to actually come back under that same stitch that I just ended on. Hopefully, there we go. And now since I'm coming from the left side, I'm working left to right. this one, then up to the one above it that has been gone through on the previous row, through, and then, so I just keep alternating back and forth. It's just the same thing over and over again, and you can see sometimes I'm having a hard time getting under my short stitch, so you could make those stitches a little longer. They'd be easier to get under. It's up to you. It's a design feature on how you want it to look. So I'm just going to keep doing this, and I'll come back and show you my finish since I'm playing with gradating the color. But you just keep going until you've filled in your whole grid work that you made with your first stitches, your first little straight stitches. This is my finished cloud filling stitch, and just because I could, I gradated from a really pale yellow at the top down to an orange at the bottom. I could have marked a whole piece of fabric this way. Now you have a grid, and you can either leave it like this, or you could come in and put little things inside each of the grids. Or what if you had embroidered a fish and you wanted him to be in a net? You could do this over the top of something else.